I'm going to call the council meeting for the city of Ashtabula to order. Today is Monday, May 20th, 2024. If at this time you would please stand for our prayer and our pledge.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to let your inspiration precede this council's action and all present here today, and your assistance further us, so that every word and work of ours may take its beginning from you, and so begun, may through you reach its completion. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was a wonderful pledge. It was powerful, wasn't it? It was really loud. Huh? Am I too loud?
No, you can't hear you.
Oh, not loud enough. Well, I said that was a wonderful pledge. So anyway, Ms. Bell, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Holman?
Present.
Mrs. Mills?
Here.
Mrs. DiGiacomo?
Here.
Mrs. Foglio?
Here.
Mr. Guerrero?
Here.
Mr. Simeone?
Here.
Mr. Roskovics?
Here.
Mr. Timonier?
Here.
Ms. Cooper?
Here.
Mrs. Augustin?
Here.
Ms. Bell?
We have all our members tonight, so there's no reason to excuse anybody. We have a full council, so we are meeting the requirements of the Sunshine Law and all our requirements. Right. At this time, before we begin our meeting, I will just explain to you the way this works, because I know we have many visitors tonight. Thank you for coming to be with us. You will see the agenda on the overhead TVs. And what we will do, we have administrative reports, our four city officials will give reports to council. Then some councilors have reports on some committee meetings that we have had. We will then deal with the legislation part of our agenda. I believe tonight we have 7 or 8 items of legislation. We will hear those and we will vote on those. If you are here to talk about any of those items, you may do so at that time. If you are here to talk about something else, then you will wait to the end of the meeting. So we will handle the legislative part of our agenda, have a few more items, and then at the end of the meeting, we will have time for a citizens portion. During the citizens portion, and I'll review these rules again, you may approach the podium, you may state your name and your street you can give us your address, but if you want to just give your street, that's fine. If your street is not in Ashtabula, then you would say, Broadway, New York City, whatever. However you would do that. We allow you 5 minutes to speak to the council. You may speak to council. You are not permitted to speak to other people in the room. If you do, I will hit the gavel and ask you to redirect your comments to council. We don't want any arguing. Not that I'm saying anybody here would argue, but we would like you to address council. Hopefully everybody will have a chance to speak. Obviously we have a large crowd. Everybody gets 5 minutes, and then we will conclude our meeting at the conclusion of that, unless council has some information or something that they want to share or deal with. All right, and I will repeat those rules at the end of the meeting as well. Okay, I see we have you're on TV. Okay, now I understand that a TV camera can add 15 pounds. Is there a filter on there or something that we need to worry about? We don't want that. Okay. All right.
What is that being broadcasted on?
Hearing news now.
Okay.
Hearing news now. Okay. All right. We will then proceed on with our meeting. Ms. Bell, do you have minutes for us?
May 6, 2024, regular council meeting was called to order at 7 o'clock p.m. by Council President Roskovics. Ward 5 Councilor Jane DiGiacomo offered the opening prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance was recited. Present was Mr. Roskovics, Mrs. Foglio, Mr. Guerrero, Mrs. Mills, Ms. Holman, and Mrs. DeGiacomo. Absent, Mr. Simeone. Officers present were City Manager Tim Manier, City Solicitor Cecilia Cooper, Finance Director Marie Evros Augustin, and Clerk of Council Ashley Bell.
Can I have a motion regarding the waiving of the reading of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. DeGiacomo moves. Ms. Holman seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive the reading of the minutes by a 7-0 vote. Thank you, Ms. Bell. We will now go on with our administrative team reports. City Council has nothing this evening. We had last week a resolution honoring Father Thomas, and we will vote on that with our legislation. Mr. Manager, you have items for us this evening.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do. First, I would like an ordinance to enter into agreement with Koski Construction here in Ashtabula as the most responsible bid for the repaving of the parking lots for the Health Department, the Fire Department, and the municipal complex in the amount not to exceed $127,167. Funding for this expense will be taken from Permanent Improvement Fund 412.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Mrs. Foglio moves and Mrs. Mills seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 7-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to enter into an agreement with Roniak Paving LLC of Burton, Ohio as the most responsible bid for the 2024 street paving project in the amount not to exceed $1,068,149. Funding for this expense will be taken from funds 206, 209, 219, 212, and 261.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Foglio, second by Mrs. DeGiacomo. Any discussion?
Mr. Manager, when will this be starting?
I'm not positive. We will be going over schedules. I believe in the bid packet we did have a completion date. I don't recall what that is. It's sometime, I believe, in August. But as soon as they can get rolling, we'll get them rolling.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. And like we mentioned earlier, this is over $3 to $4 million worth of paving being done in our city this summer.
It'll be just over $3 million. Yes.
3 million. So that's a great thing. And thank you for our voters recently passed our paving levy, and so we appreciate that. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 7-0 vote.
Next, I would like an ordinance to enter into an agreement with the Ashtabula County Land Reutilization Corporation in Jefferson, Ohio, for the purchasing property for the Ohio Avenue Extension Sanitary Sewer Pump Station, permanent parcel 683160001100, in the amount not to exceed $500 plus any recording or conveyance fees. Funding for this expense will be taken from Water Pollution Control Fund 504.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Ms. Holman moves. Mr. Guerrero seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add it to our agenda by a 7-0 vote.
Lastly, I would like an ordinance to enter into an agreement with former dispatchers Legg, Hampton, and Stewart for the settlement of potential Fair Labor Standards Act wage and hourly claims in the amount not to exceed $9,067.28. Funding for this expense will be taken from General Fund 101.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I move on the manager's recommendation.
Second.
Ms. Foglio moves. Mr. Guerrero second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will add that to our agenda by a 7-0 vote.
Mr. President, that's all I have for my report tonight.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments for the manager?
Mr. President, I do. Excuse me for being a little late, Mr. Manager, but the last recommendation that you made, it says the former dispatchers. Is there a reason why it's the
I
former?
don't believe
not
they're
current?
employed with us anymore. So if you recall, we had a settlement of claims where dispatchers, where we thought they were paid in the same overtime wage as police officers.
Got it.
We were notified of that, so we wanted to make sure these dispatchers did not join a former suit against us, so we very much appreciate them. And we have an obligation to settle that with them as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager, I don't know if this is a time, or Mr. President, I got an email today from a person that's a relative of the person who started the pickleball courts. And they filled out that form of proposal for honoring someone. That person has now passed away. So I have these documents because they emailed them to me. So I didn't know if I start with the Park and Rec Board or...
I believe council I'm sorry, Mr. President, I believe council in the past had designated a way to do things in memory of or in honor of, and I think it's a committee of council. We would have to go back and research.
Yeah, we'll have
That
to
was
find out who's on
established.
that count, because
Yeah.
we haven't had that committee meet in quite a while. So we would have to go back and see who's on that.
Yeah, you guys did form a process, though.
Yeah, there was the process.
That falls under council's obligation to do.
So, do you
Kick
want...
the can to you, yes.
We'll have to, I'll have, we'll do some research on who was on the committee. I'm sure whoever was, a couple
Okay.
of them are gone.
Yeah.
I know like Mr. Spielman was.
I think
and so-
Mr. Spielman was
So we will have to
spearheading that.
look at that committee again.
I was actually on that committee, that ad hoc, before I was even on council,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
There was a process for it.
Yeah. So we will look at that.
yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, we'll figure it out. But that came to me, and that was, important. And then I guess he had passed away, and then the spouse recently had passed away too. So it was, and I know that there's a lot of activity there with the pickleball. So we'll figure it out on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mills.
Okay.
Mr. Manager, before we let you go, Monday is Memorial Day. There is garbage pickup on
Yeah,
Memorial Day.
there will be garbage pickup, so everybody will be on the normal schedule. There is going to be also a ceremony in Veterans Park. I believe that starts at 11 o'clock. But folks from the VFW are organizing that for us. So,
All right. Thank you. And we should mention, Mr. Spielman was always our gentleman who would mention that we want to honor our veterans and thank them for their service. So Monday is, every day, but Monday is also a good day to do that. So, okay. Ms. Cooper, do you have anything for us?
I do not, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. Ms. Augustine?
I do not have anything, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Augustine. And Ms. Bell?
I do not, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to the council committee reports, community and economic development.
Our next meeting, I believe, is May 28th. And we will have the health department there speaking.
Thank you. Finance and personnel has a report, I believe.
Okay, I know everybody's hot, so I'm going to fly through this. Our committee met on Friday, May 17th. Our special guest was our city solicitor, Cecilia Cooper, and she discussed the Timesheets and Fair Labor Standards Act, specifically regarding the municipal court. The matter pending is whether the timekeeping is accurate. The supervisor is responsible for determining the timekeeping and if it is accurate. Once the hours are entered, the Fair Labor Standard Act required that the employees be paid for the hours. Requiring employees to use a time clock to record hours is a city policy, not a law. The Assistant Finance Director, Carolyn Sheldon, provided her report for the Finance Director. The first half of taxes have come in. As of April 24th, the city finances are on target, and revenue and expenses are also on target. Income tax collections are up. There is a 25% increase in tax collections from 2 years ago. In August, the Income Tax Department will send out letters to delinquent taxpayers. Delinquent taxpayers have 60 days to pay. After 60 days, the balance will be certified to the Ohio Attorney General's office. All the city investments are in Star, Ohio, and doing very well. The city manager stated the superintendent of water pollution, Mr. Craig Pierce, plans to retire soon. The position is posted internally. The city still has several vacant positions for part-time help in the summer, so if you have anybody who's 18 years old and has a driver's license, we're taking resumes. There's minimal response to the position. The Ohio Department of Transportation project is going well. Several manhole castings and storm basins castings need to be replaced. City Solicitor Cooper provided insight into the overtime compensation bill. The Department of Labor sets the minimum guidelines for overtime compensation. After July 1st, the Department of Labor lowered the threshold for employees whose salary is lower than $43,888 per year. You are entitled to overtime or compensation time if you work more than 40 hours a week. This bill will be evaluated every 3 years. And our next meeting is scheduled for June 21st, 2024 at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you, Mrs. Foglio. Public Works?
Our next meeting is Tuesday, May 28th at 8:30 a.m., and our guest speaker is Mr. Scott Waldega from ATEC.
Thank you, Mrs. Mills. There was a Safety Forces meeting last week. We heard reports from the police chief and the fire chief. The police chief reports that the numbers of calls that they receive seem to be holding steady with last year. At this time, they have gone up a little bit, and that happens every year as we get closer to summer. The calls and so forth go up. So, but he said they are in line with what has been common in the past. The police chief is also reporting that they are ready for all the activities that occur in town in the summer, beach glass and all the festivals that cause Bridge Street to close down, Main Street. So the police are ready for that. They have enough people to do that, and when they don't, then they get help from the neighboring districts, Jefferson or Geneva, wherever. But they always make sure they have enough officers that are involved in doing that. The fire department also reports similar numbers as compared to last year. The only interesting item on their report was in a given year, it looks like we have between like $500,000 and $750,000 in property damage due to fires. This year we have $30 million damage due to fire because of the boat that burned in the harbor. And so that was a big fire. And so I just thought that was interesting that fire was $30 million worth of, so that was just interesting. But it's not going to, he assured us it won't affect our insurance rates as a city because obviously the uniqueness of that. And so those were the two reports from the Police Safety Forces Committee. The Planning Commission meeting for this week was canceled. There will be a meeting in June. The Historic Preservation Committee meeting will be held on Wednesday, the 22nd. They have a few items on their agenda, a new signage at Goodwill. There's a proposal for a new house on West 6th Street, down towards the Goodwill in the new hotel area. There's a request, plans for a new house down there. And then they, I believe, are also going to be presenting a compromise on a property on Bridge Street. I don't know if you followed the paper last week. We had an appeal from a property owner on Bridge Street. And go
Mr.
ahead.
President, I do have an update on that.
Okay,
So
all right.
we did meet with the property owner, and we also had contact with the Architectural Review Board, the Historic Review Board. We think we've come to a compromise on that. The Architectural Review Board will be voting on that to approve it at their next meeting. Essentially, they will be keeping the brick, but there's some specifics on how we would like the trim done, and then the trim in a brown color to match the rest of what's on the building. We did come to a compromise on it, so hopefully they will vote on that at their next meeting and
On Wednesday.
put that to bed.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Timonero, and thanks for mediating that. That's not part of your normal duties, but thank you for that. Okay, so those are the committees. Is there any other committee? Would you like to add anything? No? Okay, good. We will move on with the legislative part of our agenda. You will see the items on the board. If you want to speak about any of these items only, you may do so at this time. We have an ordinance for a tax abatement on Walnut Boulevard. We have an ordinance for Koski Construction Paving, an ordinance to change an Amendola Engineering at the water treatment plant, Amendola. Okay, yeah. And another change order for Amendola, and authorizing the city enter agreement with Roniak Paving for city streets, contract to enter into an agreement for the purchase of property on Ohio Avenue, a contract to enter into a settlement for a Fair Labor Standard Act dispute that had occurred, and we also will have approve a resolution honoring Father Raymond Thomas, who is retiring as the pastor of Mount Carmel, or Our Lady of Peace Parish, and several other parishes in the county. And he's been in Ashtabula County for 26, 30, between Ashtabula and Conneaut for a long time. So we have a resolution honoring him. Okay. Is there anyone who would like to comment on any of those items? Just approach the podium and state your name and your street address. Okay, seeing no one, at this time, we will have the reading of the legislation. Ms. Bell?
Ordinance number 2024-51, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a community reinvestment area tax incentive agreement with Paul and Mary Ellen Dovner for tax abatement at 100% for 7 years for new residential dwellings located at 1614 Walnut Boulevard, Ashtabula, Ohio 44004. Ordinance number 2024-52, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Koski Construction Company in the amount of $127,167 for the purpose of paving the parking lots at health and fire departments and City Hall. Ordinance number 2024-53, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Amendola Engineering Incorporated for the purpose of conducting 3 seasonal mixing zone studies and necessary work related to the relocation of outfall 001 discharge in an amount not to exceed $39,000. Ordinance number 2024-54. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into change order number 1 with Amendola Engineering Incorporated for the purpose of providing additional NPDES permitting work related to the relocation of outfall 001 discharge in an amount not to exceed $5,000. Ordinance number 2024-55. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Roniak Paving, LLC, in the amount of $1,068,140 for the purpose of paving city streets. Ordinance number 2024-56. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the purpose of real property with the Ashtabula County Land Reutilization Corporation for the city of Ashtabula in the amount not to exceed $500 plus recording fees and conveyance fees, taxes. Ordinance number 2024-57. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the settlement of potential Fair Labor Standards Act wage and hour claims with Ashtabula Police Dispatchers Della Marie Legg, Jessica Hampton, and Caitlin Stewart for the city of Ashtabula in an amount not to exceed $9,067.28. Resolution number 2024-58. A resolution honoring the Most Reverend Raymond J. Thomas, V.F.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Is it council's desire to handle tonight's agenda in consent agenda format?
Mr. President, no, I do not.
Okay. Would you like to separate the first one, or?
Ordinance number 2024-51.
Okay, the ordinance A, you would like that separated out?
Yes.
Okay. Is it council's desire to handle consent agenda items 2024-52 through 2024-58 in consent agenda format.
So moved.
Second.
Who is that move? Mr. Giacomo moved, Ms. Mills seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will handle items B through, or I'm sorry, items 52 through 58, right?
Yes, 52 through 58.
We will handle items 52 through 58 in consent agenda format. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will do that by a 7-0 vote. Is there a motion to waive the reading of the legislation items 2024-52 through 2024-58?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. DiGiacomo, second by Mrs. Foglio. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive the reading by a 7-0 vote. Is there a motion to waive the charter requirements of 2 readings of this legislation?
So moved.
Second.
Who was the motion?
I think it was.
Ms. Holman? Thank you. Ms. Holman moves. Mrs. Foglio second. Any discussion? Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. DiGiacomo?
Yes.
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich?
Yes.
Ms. Holman?
Yes.
Ms. Mills?
Yes.
We will waive the charter requirements of 2 readings by a 7-0 vote. We will now vote on the adoption of the legislation. Would you please call the roll?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I have a question on one of these before we vote.
Oh, okay.
I just, city manager will probably answer this one, but I was just wondering, on number 55, where does that asphalt come from?
The Roniak paving asphalt?
Yeah, the asphalt that actually is laid down, they're doing it, but where is it purchased? Because that's a lot of money leaving our town. And
Oh.
I just wondered,
I don't know
Where they purchased
if there's
that?
an asphalt plant.
well, there always was one at Penny Dock, and I was
Yeah,
just,
I
I
don't
was
know
just
if that's-
wondering.
What's that?
Oh, they're out of Burton, but I don't know where they get the,
Yeah. We'll give Mr. Timonir time to get back to his chair.
Yeah.
One-man band.
Mr. President, so the question was, where does the asphalt come from? It is in the bid packet. They have to specify where they purchase it from. I know that they try to do business locally. However, when the company that has the asphalt plant here is also bidding on that, sometimes they're not willing to provide those dollars to those bidding companies. But we do have 2 asphalt plants that are in the vicinity. I believe they're coming from one of the 2, but I can get you that information.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bell, will you call the roll on the passage, on the adoption of the legislation?
Mrs. Foglio?
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero?
Yes.
Mr. Simeone?
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich?
Yes.
Ms. Holman?
Mr. President, is this ordinance 52 through 58 we're voting on
Yes,
currently?
52 through
Yes.
58.
Yes.
Mrs. Mills?
yes.
Mrs. DiGiacomo?
Yes.
Thank you. Legislative items 2024-52 through 2024-58 have all passed by a 7-0 vote. We will now go back to legislative item 2024-51. Is there a motion to waive?
You gotta sign it
Sorry. Oh, is there a motion to waive the reading of the legislation in its entirety?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Giacomo moves, Ms. Mills seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We will waive the reading by a 7-0 vote. Is there a motion to waive the charter requirements of 2 readings on item 2024-51?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. DiGiacomo, second by Ms. Holman. Any discussion? Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero,
Yes.
Mr. Simeone,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich,
Yes.
Ms. Holman,
No.
Mrs. Mills,
Yes.
Mrs. DeGiacomo.
Yes.
We will waive the two readings of that item by a 6-1 vote. And we will now vote on the adoption of 2024-51. Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Foglio,
Yes.
Mr. Guerrero,
Yes.
Mr. Simeone,
Yes.
Mr. Roskovich,
Yes.
Ms. Holman,
No.
Mrs. Mills,
Yes.
Mrs. DeGiacomo.
Yes.
That item has passed and it has been adopted by a 6-1 vote. Thank you. There is no further legislation that we need to deal with this evening. Is there any unfinished business for council? Is there any new business for council? Does anyone have anything for tell us something we don't know?
I do.
Thank you.
I just want to wish all the graduating seniors congratulations, especially Jimmy Timoneer.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else?
I have one.
Thank you, Mr. Simeon.
And so, I mean, you may have brought this up at the last meeting, but I wasn't here for that. Ashtabula Arts Center, I was kind of intrigued by this. Footloose the Musical, June 7th through 9th, and June 14th through 16th, back-to-back weekends. So if you grew up in my era, Footloose was kind of a big deal. So I saw that and was very intrigued. So I just want to let people know.
Very good. Thank you. I think that's been 40 years. I think I saw on TV. It was 40 years.
Mr.
It
President,
was your era. It wasn't my era. Yes.
okay, you know, a meeting can't go by when I don't tell you something you don't know. You probably already know this, but I just wanted to say Bridge Street looks amazing. The flowers, the Lipbridge Community Association, just everybody who rallied together. It looks so cool coming down there and seeing the pop of color, and just, it looks great. So it's like summertime.
And I can tell you, I was actually down there the other day when they were doing that work, and to me, it looked like, you know, everybody down there who had, you know, has a store or something, like just all the local people were all pitching in to make it, and you're right, it looks really nice down there.
Mr. President, so Main Avenue will get its flowers this week, I believe, is when the Ashtabula Downtown Development Association is putting out their baskets and getting it cleaned up. And as you probably heard, the governor's announcement of the Appalachian Grant, our downtown did receive $1.6 million. Yeah, about time. Just to put that in perspective, when we got the big grants for Bridge Street back in the day, so that would have been 2014, 15, somewhere around there, we received $600,000. So we're getting $1 million more than we got for Bridge Street for Main Avenue. Really, right now, they've only told us the number. They haven't told us what that actually funds. If you recall, I put about $9 million worth of projects into that grant, so they funded 1.6 of that. We all put a lot of effort into that, and I truly want to thank the Ashtabula County Land Reutilization Corporation, Alex Irochi, and Greg Myers from the Growth Partnership. They were instrumental in getting the whole county together and to apply for that grant. So now Eastgate in Youngstown will be awarded the grant, and then the funds will trickle from there. Hopefully we'll know soon, because we got to get rolling. There's a deadline on spending these funds, and of course everybody in the Appalachian region that has been awarded money is going to be scrambling for the same contractors, same materials, and we have a deadline to get this stuff installed and spent, and we're going to make sure that we spend every penny of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager, for all your work. I know that was a lot of work, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything else? Does anybody else have anything for tell us something we don't know? As I said last week, and I will, you know, we all love Ashtabula, and Ashtabula is good all year, but in the summer, I just think we really shine. It's just a good place to be. And so get around town, support the businesses, a lot of new businesses. We're getting invited to ribbon cuttings and everything all the time, so good deal. Okay. All right. We now come to the part of the public meeting, of our meeting for public comment. And I would just once again reiterate the rules. We thank you for coming. We appreciate your interest in our community, and we want to make sure that everybody who can be heard is heard and done so in a respectful fashion. So if you address council, state your name, your street, if you live out of the city, your little town, and then make sure that you are addressing council.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Is it possible, in the interest of order, to go like row by row, or
Well, I don't know,
I
somebody
mean,
might,
I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't want everyone.
well, somebody might want to respond to something that they hear, so. Hopefully we'll be able to keep it ordered. I know we have quite a crowd in the lobby, so we'll do the best we can. And I'm sure everybody will be accommodating if somebody wants to walk by you. You know, we're gonna excuse ourselves and we'll keep the traffic flow as we can. If somebody has to come around and go around front, we'll do the best we can. All right?
Mr. President, I do have a timer too, so it's
All right, yes.
5 minutes. And
Yes,
when
did
they
I say
start
that?
When they start
Oh.
talking, I will set the timer.
Yeah, we
So
do have a
it's fair to
5-minute limit.
everyone.
Because otherwise, we could be here. Somebody might, no. Okay. So, okay, you're already there.
Go first.
All right.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Beeman, and I live in Conneaut. I saw some papers going around online, and yes, ma'am.
Can you spell your first and last name?
Rebekah, Beeman, Beeman.
And that's B like boy, right?
B like boy, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I
Thank
need
you.
to make sure I have everybody's name spelled correctly. So you may think that somebody knows how to spell it, but I need you to spell it. So we'll put it. It's on record.
Yeah, it has to be in the record. Go ahead, Ms. Beeman.
So we saw some petitions and some papers online regarding our festival on June 15th at Walnut Beach. So I just wanted to address some of the things that I saw online. One, I know that there was some controversy about us moving from Bridge Street to Walnut Beach. Let me just state first that this decision was ours and ours alone. And by moving to a place where there was some grass, we could then incorporate the inflatables for the kids and things to play on, and just logistically, it made more sense to not be on a street and to be in a place where there was, family. So,
I
I
have
guess.
a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said
Sorry.
we. Can you describe who we is?
Yeah, that would be me, my co-founder, Michael Reif, and the rest of our executive board. We discussed and voted on it.
And what?
Just
I'm
Ashtabula
sorry.
Pride.
Ashtabula
Pride.
Pride. Okay. Thank
Okay, yeah, sorry. So I guess the big topic and the reason that everybody is here tonight is there's a little bit of controversy about our entertainment. What I would like to address and say by that is the pictures that were emailed, the pictures that are posted online. Now, these are things that were done in a bar, entertainment for adults, for an adult audience, so it was adult content. The content that is going to be on stage the day of our festival is not targeted for adults. So everything is going to be kept PG. It's going to be PG dress. It is going to be PG music, PG content. There will be no sexually explicit things happening, contrary to popular belief here. We are still 100% stating that this is going to be a family-friendly event, and there will be no inappropriate content permitted or tolerated by us. So.
Thank you, Ms. Beeman. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? Oh, I was going to say, see, no. Can't do that.
I can't keep my mouth shut.
Good evening, council. My name is Janine, Jenean, Kyle, Kile, and I'm on Meadow Lane Drive in Saybrook. I just want to briefly also address the topic that is going around about the opposition of drag shows, drag performers. I am a theater teacher. I'm currently completing my master's in theatrical education. I have been teaching theater for 12 years here in Ashtabula and about 10 years in other places. My whole job is to take people and put them in costume and allow them to present a different persona on stage to an audience. That is what drag is. Someone putting on a costume and presenting a different persona to a person in the audience. Their content is made applicable to those in their audience. If they are in a bar setting where there are adults, of course, they're going to be a little more questionable. If it is drag story time at a library reading to 5-year-olds, I guarantee you they're going to be dressed appropriately and reading a story that is appropriate to children. It is a show, it is a performance, it is in costume. But I don't think we're here about just drag performances, because this seems to be an overlying issue, and it's about the bigotry against the LGBTQ community. And I know that there are some religious signs outside that are going to bring into the religious thing to this. I need to remind you that in 1946, it was the mistranslation that changed the world when a group of white businessmen, and I stress that, got together in an office and decided to add the word homosexual to the Bible. Until that point, it was not in the Bible at all. I would also like to remind you that the Pope himself had said, being homosexual is not a crime. It is not a crime. It is a sin in the way that, and this is quoting him, please. When I said it is a sin, I was simply referring to Catholic moral teaching, which says that every sexual act outside of marriage is a sin. That pretty much covers a lot of people, not just the LGBTQ community. I would just like to close with those who are still here on their religious pulpit. In Galatians 3:28, Paul states, "There is neither Jew nor Greek, slave or free, male or female, for you are all in one in Christ." Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kyle. Anyone else addressing council this evening? Okay. If you would, would please let them through. Thank you.
My name is Mary Ellen Blake. I live on Elk Drive in Ashtabula, and I am here simply to talk about drag with children. And all that I'm going to do is quote from some drag performers who've had something to say about it. One drag artist, initials CG, says, and I quote, "By its very nature, drag is unsuitable for children, an adult man in a dress mocking women, meant for adults. By forcing it into children's spaces, you turn it into something threatening and vile. Conservatives are right about this one. Leave the kids alone." Now, KD, a drag queen, says, "Would you want a stripper or porn star to influence your child? A drag queen performs in a nightclub for adults. There is a lot of filth that goes on, a lot of sexual stuff, backstage, a lot of nudity and sex and drugs. So I don't think this is an avenue that you would want your child to explore." And a sex neuroscientist, DS, says, "I grew up in a gay community, many drag queens as friends. I don't think it's appropriate for kids any more than a child should be taken to a strip club. An extension of this is children themselves partaking in drag and performing for adult audiences, marketed as kid-friendly despite being, in many cases, sexually explicit." And I have one more quote that I want to say. I appreciate that this movement is trying to be family-friendly. I appreciate the rides, the activities for children. I think this is wonderful. But the drag aspect of it, I think, should be completely off limits to children. And I'm going to quote D, a drag performer, and he says, the sexual element of drag is impossible to deny. The appeal of drag shows is that they revel in sexual dissidence. Drag has at its heart a lascivious energy, a blankety blankety blank attitude to societal norms. Do these artists have no comprehension of the innocence of childhood? Some reckless artists refuse to observe boundaries around children. A recent video shows a drag queen teaching a small child to dance for tips. So my objection, our objection as a committee, is to children being exposed to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blake. Anyone else who would like to address council at this time?
My name is Bishop David John Lataw from
Wait a minute, did you get that
61
name? 1 minute, sir.
Did you spell your last name?
Lettau.
And your first name is Bishop David?
My first name is David.
Oh, you're a bishop.
I'm Bishop, yes.
Oh, gotcha.
And the street, sir?
And the street is 6133 North Main Street West, Ashtabula, Ohio, 44004.
Thank you.
Zip code. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to address something from the Bible directly, rather than just hearsay when people think what the Bible says. But in the Bible, in Romans chapter 1, it says, wherefore God gave them up to uncleanliness through the lust of their own hearts, and dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worshiped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause God gave them over to vile affections, and even their women changed their natural use into that which is against nature. Likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, and men with men, working that which is unseemly, received in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meet. And then, even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind, to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, and full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whispers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable and unmerciful, who, knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. What they're doing is teaching perversion to our children, and I believe the parents are the ultimate responsibility for the children, to have them witness that stuff or not. And the parents are ultimately responsible. But yet, you know what? We, as a city, are responsible for making sure that no decadent and perverse things go on. And it's worthy of death, it says in the Bible. We need to take heed to that and take heed to God's word. It's the authorized King James Version Bible in Romans. And then it says in the Bible in Numbers 32:23, be sure your sin will find you out. Ultimately, we are going to have to give, as well as you as a council, account to God for what you do. And I pray that you do the right thing, the moral thing, the godly thing, according to God's word. Because our children are suffering in our schools because of perversion that's entering into our schools. And now Let's not let our city have that sin applied to them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And if I could just say, oh, who's ever speaking is at the podium. Please, everyone in the audience, please do not speak while someone else is speaking. Thank you very much. Anyone else who would like to address council, just approach the podium and share your name.
My name is Cassie Eaton, C-A-S-S-I-E, E-A-T-O-N, and I'm a resident of Greenridge Drive in Geneva in Ashtabula County, Ohio. I have worked inside our community for over 10 years, and I've worked in the mental health field for 20 plus years. I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor in the state of Ohio and certified clinical trauma professional. I am speaking to you today as a heterosexual, cisgendered ally of the LGBTQ community and a long-term resident of Ashtabula County. This is the definition of hate: extreme dislike or disgust, more specifically, an intense hostility and aversion, usually deriving from fear, anger, or sense of injury. While living in Ashtabula County, I have never been afraid, and I've been in some sketchy situations, but I have never even felt the need to lock my doors. And now it's 2024, and I'm suddenly afraid of attending Pride in Ashtabula County, let alone co-hosting it. I am just as fearful to do this now as this group is fearful of their children being exposed to drag. I'm being groomed now to be afraid of some of the people in my own community. In this city, we shouldn't have to fear. We shouldn't have to be anxious or worried to have performance art, controversial or not, in any part of our city. That's what art is. It's controversial, but it's also a beautiful expression of life and living life on our own terms and not someone else's. The definition of drag is a performance of an exaggerated femininity, masculinity, or other forms of gender expression, usually for entertainment purposes. It is imperative to an event that celebrates the LGBTQ community. Celebrating and poking fun at the strict social gender norms allows us to process the trauma of being trapped within these norms through humor and art form. The LGBTQ community is within your community. And over the years, we have never had to fight this much before. And what are we fighting for? Just to be allowed to celebrate and be proud? Why all this unnecessary hysteria right now? Suddenly forcing us to have to fight to disavow social shame and inequality that in this city has no place. What we should fear in this city is not providing safe spaces for the entirety of our youth population. We should be worried about social isolation, youth depression rates, and the lack of positive, destigmatizing resources in the area that provide outlets to the youth who need it. We aren't asking you to stand up for us. We have the courage to be disliked. We are simply asking you not to force us to celebrate with a cloud of fear and hate hanging over our heads. Not everyone wants to go to prom or play football. Not everyone is accepted by their peer groups. So what we want the youth to know is that some of you might want to attend Pride. Some of you might want to perform or celebrate or create art. What about those kids? Did you know that in Ashtabula County, according to the Mental Health Recovery Services Board website, in 2021, the Ashtabula County suicide rate was 3.4% higher than the state of Ohio's overall rate. The county had 24 completed suicides. 3 of those were under the age of 24, which is considered youth age. 44.9% of youth who had seriously considered suicide reported they attempted it in the past 12 months. These are our city's children. And a national survey from the Trevor Project in 21 reports that 42% of the LGBTQ youth seriously considered attempting suicide in the past year. Pride is a family-friendly event because it is a safe space that affirms the LGBTQ youth, adults, and their allies. That is who Pride is for. It is for them. If you don't agree with it, you don't have to be there, but why now? This is not what we do in this city. This has never been a city of fear. Please don't allow it to turn into one. You don't have to fight for us. We can find a way to breathe while suffocating. What you do need to do is to fight for Ashtabula to remain a city of safety and peace. Thank you very much.
My name is Peter Scardino. I live on Birchwood Avenue here in Ashtabula.
Can you spell your last name, Mr. Scardino?
Scardino. I'm a born-again Christian and I'm an openly gay man. Some would say that's not possible, that there is no such thing as a gay Christian. Well, there's one standing before you today. Some of the people that may judge me for that, I want you to know that that's precisely why we have Pride events. This protest of Pride is not about drag queens. It's about the oppression of the LGBTQ community. Drag queens have been around for centuries. Drag may trace its roots to the age of William Shakespeare when female roles were performed by men. Our nation has watched drag in movies and television for decades. Since before my generation, it goes back as far as Milton Berle and Bob Hope in the 1950s, all the way up through movies like The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Tu Wong Fu, Kinky Boots, Tootsie, Mrs. Doubtfire, and the beloved Medea movies. Many drag opponents cite nudity in their objections. Every performer makes different choices, but drag queens often wear more, not less clothing than you've seen on a typical American woman of the 21st century at a public beach or on a network television show. But that's okay. It's okay to take children to Hooters or put guns in the hands of teenagers. Talk about grooming. Where's the outrage over these things? You want to know what's outrageous? According to an organization called Children's Rights, 30% of foster youth identify as LGBTQ, and youth aged 15 to 24 who identify as LGBTQ are 120% more likely to become homeless than their heterosexual peers. According to the Trevor Project, suicide is the second leading cause of death among young people aged 10 to 24. LGBTQ youth are at significantly increased risk. LGBTQ youth are more than 4 times as likely to attempt suicide than their peers. The Trevor Project estimates that more than 1.8 million LGBTQ youth, 13 to 24, seriously consider suicide each year in the U.S. At least one attempts suicide every 45 seconds. These statistics are because of the way gay youth are treated in this country. Where's the outrage over this? Where's the concern for these children? Gay pride is important because some kid today still believes they're better off dead than being themselves. No, this protest isn't over drag. It's a demand to take away the rights of a class of people that are protected under the Constitution of the United States. We have the same First Amendment right of freedom of speech as our heterosexual counterparts. Frankly, we're tired of being politicized. We're sick and tired of being demonized and dehumanized because we love differently than you do. We have had it with being pathologized, criminalized, and ostracized by a group of people that are called to love others. We are just as fearfully and wonderfully made as you are. Baby, we were born this way. Yeah. And if God loves us, and He does, then so should you. Love accepts people because of who they are. Furthermore, more what I find outrageous is that we want to target drag queens, but we want to sweep under the rug the scandal that has rocked this nation, that is the sexual abuse of thousands of children by the hands of priests and ministers in this country. Where's the outrage over this? Don't talk to me about your concern over children watching drag shows. Children are safer at a drag show than they are at your local church. You're not concerned about children. You want to shut us up and have us go away. Well, I'll tell you right now, we're here and we're queer and we aren't going anywhere. Happy Pride.
I am Autumn Vigil, autumn like the season, Vigil, V-I-G-I-L, of Ashtabula Township off of North Homewood Avenue. I don't have a prepared speech. I came from work. I work in a local emergency department here in Ashtabula County. I have been part of Pride since we came back with force, since we were forced on a private farm property here in Ashtabula County because we couldn't be public for our fear from people calling, making threats to us. I recently stepped back about this time last year because my mother was diagnosed with cancer. I just want to present to you, council, that I have 2 children, both neurodivergent, one who is part of the LGBTQ+ community. This is why I got involved. I wanted my daughter and other children to be safe, to be heard, to be seen, and to be loved for who they are. Ashtabula County has a long history of being a very, very friendly community, but very judgmental, especially that people that aren't like us, that don't look like us, don't love like us, don't think like us. And my first year, I sat with many of you watching over 3,000 people, allies, lesbians, gays, drag performers, come and love. Children, families of children coming, so excited and happy, and to be free who they were and are today. I made it my mission that day when my daughter came to me and said, "Mom, I'm so happy I have a place that I feel accepted and people love me." No children ever in my being should ever not feel loved by their community. It takes a community to raise our children. It takes love, it takes understanding. And by the way, I'm a minister. I'm a minister, and know what I do? I preach love. I don't come in with threats, and I'm sorry for redirecting my attention, council. But I come here with love, and I hope and pray that threats of violence and death, misquoted from a book that is held so highly to even people on our board, because, oh God, you could be gay and love Christ. So next time you want to threaten any children in this community, you have mama bears to watch out for. You have papa bears to watch out for. You got aunties, you got uncles. Do not threaten our children.
Hello. My name is Aaron Van Buren, Aaron Van space Buren, and I'm on Centennial Street in Geneva, Ohio. I'm somebody who came out at a very young age, and I was only accepted by less than 50% of my family. So I believe I can attest to the fact that seeing others live freely as who they are is something that is very powerful to a child who feels very much alone in the world. I went to my very first Pride show where I was 14 years old. I dressed in very subtle drag, but I still felt so free and so comfortable to be who I was and to express it without fear or hatred or discipline when I got home. I think when I marched in that parade, I was amazed at how it felt to be alive in the then and now, and what happened next was not important. People assume their kids are straight. They assume their kids are cisgender, and that is a lot of what's wrong in this heteronormative society. People even disown their children due to sexual orientation and gender identity. People assume being gay is wrong and being trans is a betrayal. I turned out both of those things as a lesbian, transgender, non-binary person. My parents did not know what to expect, and at 12 years old, I was called a sin from the devil by some of my family. I'm still not called Aaron in a house that was once my home. Being gay and trans is not dirty. Drag is not dirty or immoral. Drag is art. It is how I was able to express myself, and it is my first introduction to what the words living freely really means. I would not be who I am today if I had not gone to even that first Pride Parade, if I had not been shown how happy I could be in the future. I had a lot of self-hatred, and I had a lot of unaliving ideations. I wanted to unalive myself at 12 years old. Drag and pride shows showed me how happy my life could be as an adult who could live freely. Drag is love and acceptance, and drag is art. It is not immoral. People who are upset with drag queens and drag kings are just upset that they can't pull it off themselves. I stand up here saying that drag changed my life as a child for the better. You can't say that drag made me gay. I was already gay and I was already trans. Drag and being emerged into such a loving and accepting environment, the gay community is what made me feel so not alone in the world anymore. When 3 churches I went to tried to convert me, the gay community welcomed me with open arms, telling me there wasn't anything wrong with me. I would be dead without seeing that love and acceptance. You can limit your kids and not allow them to go to these parades because that is your choice as their parents. But don't limit other children because you don't agree with a lifestyle filled with love and happiness and acceptance. Drag is free expression. It is not a sexual element, as a clearly uneducated woman had stated previously. If there aren't events like this that show kids there is more happiness than sadness in the world, more kids like me will die. Thank you.
Hello.
Excuse me, 1 minute, ma'am.
Are we voting on something that I don't know about?
No.
I mean, what? I'm not exactly sure what this is all about, to be honest with you.
Well, there was a request for council to, and the manager, I believe, also to stop the drag performances at Lakeshore Park. Council has made, Walnut Beach, I'm sure. Council has made no motion. Council has seconded no motion. So it's not on our agenda. Unless a council member makes a motion, we're listening, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, there's nothing on our agenda, and I don't.
Thought I was missing something
No,
because
no, we're not. It's not on our agenda unless, like I said, unless a counselor brings it up. And
thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Jenny Ball, B-A-L-L. I live on Lake Road on the lake. I'm a taxpayer. So is my brother and his husband. They've been married a lot longer than a lot of heterosexual people. They've been together over 30 years. You might also have some people in here that you don't even know that are a gay or lesbian person. All these people talking about the Bible, rolling their eyes, all of that. I was raised Catholic, but my brothers are not going to hell. My own son, who lives in Ashtabula County, is not going to hell. And I have groups. I moved here from Tampa, St. Pete area about 1.5 years ago, and I belong to, we have a lot of crews there. And what we do is we dress up, we do the pride festivals. It's attended by children, babies. We throw beads and have fun. And then we give our money to cancer societies and things like that. I've been to drag queen bingo. It's fun as heck. Men and women go. I don't know what all this craziness is about, drag queens reading to kids and whatever. I would like any of you people from these churches reading the Bible, which is written by men, by the way, to tell me and give me some information on how many drag queens, transgender, gay people have molested children. But I can tell you, the church that I grew up in, my priest molested a child. There are a lot of heterosexual people that are abusing their own children, okay? And I'm so tired of all these hypocrites. You know, it's 2024. Ashtabula cannot be going backwards, or I think you're going to lose a lot of people. This is a community. I was born in Ashtabula General in 1964. I moved back here from Florida, and if there's going to be all this hate around and I have to worry about my family members being injured or mistreated, that's really sad. In fact, a friend of mine who passed away a couple of years ago, he went to downtown Cleveland. He was supposed to meet another guy for a date. This guy was attacked outside the bar by a bunch of people and beat to death. So these are the things we should not have to worry about. And I just see a lot of hate here. Jesus, God, does not hate people who are different and who are born that way. This is not socialized, trust me. I know there's other people that want to speak. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Hi, I'm Teresa Hodgson, Hodgson. Live up on Walnut Boulevard. This is drag.
Ma'am.
These are the performers.
Please put that down.
These are the performers.
Ma'am, please put that down. We don't
Pride
have any,
Incorporated.
we don't have any signs. And
This is their signs.
all right, would you please put that down?
These are their performers.
Thank you. No signs in council meetings, please.
I spoke at last week's, or 2 weeks ago, meeting on the basis of, gosh, it might be noisy, but I object to a great deal more than the noise. I hope it's not lost on anybody that Budweiser lost $30 billion after the Dylan Mulvaney escapade. Disney's down 9 points on the stock market, lowest they have ever been after their introduction to inclusion in LBGT. Target lost $15 billion of investors' monies after the bathroom fiasco and their introduction to the Pride line. Premier Fitness lost members for upholding the male-female locker room issue, and upon losing members, they raised their rates. In case you can't make the correlation, people, especially families, are divesting, not investing. I think that's a risk for any community. Do you want to endorse this, which major corporations have taken the brunt of loss? You can have your personal opinions. You can pass your own judgments. We're talking about showcasing a city under the basis of homosexuality and transvestites. The Department of Homeland Security on May the 10th issues an alert of foreign terrorism possible attacks around Pride celebrations. That alert number is I-051-024-PSA. They issued this because of all the inability to identify illegal immigrants such as ISIS and terrorists in our country who do target large events, mostly for the part of disruption. I don't think they care one way or another about a biblical or world value. What they do care about is disruption. And whatever the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI is currently worth, they're issuing it on paper. And I contend that the city is violating your own ordinance, which is 707.11, the revocation of license for, among other things, in businesses involving moral turpitude or doubtful reputation. I would urge the city to revoke the permit. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of Ashtabula City Council. Thank you for allowing me to be here this evening and speak. My name is Jeff Combs. I reside in Geneva, but I am the pastor of the First Community Church of God here in Ashtabula. And first of all, I want to thank each of you for your service to the great city of Ashtabula. Before I get into just what I want to say, it's very short tonight. I just want to say to the people here tonight that represent the other side, if you will, to me, I'm sorry that it feels that way. I'm sorry that there's another side. I'm sorry as a pastor that I have been lumped into this group of what I've heard tonight being called hateful people. I have nothing but love for people who live any lifestyle, whoever they are, for everyone in this room, for everyone outside. The Bible tells me to love all people. And so it hurts me when I hear people say that because I'm in a church or I'm a pastor, because I don't agree with your particular view of life, that I hate you. That's not true. My best friend growing up was gay, and if he were here today, he would tell you we had a great relationship. And he went to church with me, and he knew how I believed. He never thought I hated him. So I just want to say that really makes my heart break tonight, that some of you here in this room think I hate you. I'm sorry that you feel that way, or that I've caused a loved one of yours to commit suicide. I've counseled many, many people who are gay, and I have never, ever, ever had one of them walk out of my office without feeling that I love them with the deepest part of myself. So the second thing I just want to talk about tonight is the issue of the proposed drag show that is slated to take place in Walnut Beach on June 15th. And I would just like to call your attention to some of the codified ordinances, which I'm sure you're aware of here in the city of Ashtabula. One is in chapter 959.03 specifically, and that's park regulations and penalties for violations. That simply says, no person while in a municipal park shall engage in fighting and threatening to harm persons or property. That's not even us. Just forget all this first part. Or in a violent and turbulent behavior, nor shall any person in a municipal park make unreasonable noise or offensively coarse utterance, gesture, or display, or communicate unwarranted and grossly abusive language to any person, which by its very utterance or usage inflicts injury or tends to incite an immediate breach of the peace. The second one I'd call your attention to is found in 533.11, disseminating matter harmful to juveniles, and that's what this matter's about tonight. It's not about us versus them or anything else, my opinion versus their opinion. This is about juveniles in our city and people under the age of 18. It says, no person with knowledge of its character or content shall recklessly do any of the following: directly sell, deliver, furnish, disseminate, provide, exhibit, rent, or present to a juvenile, a group of juveniles, a law enforcement juvenile or officer posing as a juvenile, or a group of law enforcement officers posing as juveniles, any material or performance that is obscene or harmful to juveniles. This is city code, okay? So what's the state law say about that? How do we define harmful to juveniles? Huh? Do you know what's harmful to juveniles? By the state code, the Ohio Revised Code, section 2907.01, defines harmful to juveniles as this. It means that the quality of any material or performance describing or representing nudity, sexual conduct, sexual excitement, or sadomasochistic abuse in any form to which all of the apply. Now, some people might say, okay, we're not doing that, but here's to all of what apply. Listen to the next part. The material or performance is patently offensive to prevailing standards in the adult community as a whole with respect to what is suitable for juveniles. So, if the city council goes ahead and allows this drag show in Walnut Beach on June 15th or any other date or time, then it's my belief that you will be in violation of your own written ordinances as well as Ohio state law. And we will pursue that matter further. This is simply about protecting our children, and I plead with you tonight to protect our children from things that they have a right to decide when they turn 18, not until that, and that their parents have the right to give them counsel on. So I close with a scripture from Luke 17, 1 through 3. This is Jesus speaking to his disciples, his followers, to you and I tonight. He says, there will always be temptations to sin, but what sorrow awaits the person who does the tempting. It would be better to be thrown into the sea with a millstone hung around your neck than to cause one of these little ones. He's talking about the children who were gathered around him that day, than to cause one of these little ones to fall into sin. So watch yourselves. That's how he closes. He's talking to his disciples, he's talking to you, he's talking to me. Watch ourselves. We are called to watch over our children. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Drews, Aaron Drews. I live on Walnut Boulevard here in Ashtabula. I wear a lot of hats here in Ashtabula. I am not, however, the AD drag performer that was mentioned earlier. I just want to make that clear. That's not me. I've worked for a community counseling center here in Ashtabula for 15 years. I've worked at the Ashtabula Area City Schools for 14 of those 15 years. I work with the kids that we're talking about. And we talk about protecting our kids, but where was the outrage when I had the child approach me when his dad kicked him out of the house because he was gay? Where's the outrage when I have the child approach me who doesn't feel comfortable with who they are to tell their parents at home, and so they hide that and they create a separate persona for themselves at home and at school? A persona that at school is more comfortable for them than home. We talk about solid family values. We talk about raising our kids right. We talk about protecting them, but I don't see those protections in my daily life. I don't see these kids being heard, and that's what pride is. It's about letting people know that they are heard, letting people know that they are accepted. Obviously not by everybody, but by enough. I work with kids who come to me who voice that they want to harm themselves, who voice that they feel that this world would be better without them in it. And I carry that on my shoulders on a daily basis. I carry that they feel more comfortable talking with me, sometimes a stranger, than they do with their own parents or the people of their community. This is bigger than us. This is bigger than just this community. The level of hate in our country has risen and risen and risen and expanded and expanded and expanded, and we have to do something about it. We have to let people know that they are loved, that they are accepted, that they are cared for, that they are not alone. I'm also a pastor at a church, Unionville United Church. I've been there also for about 15 years. And we've had many discussions on this topic, many discussions on acceptance, on the moral right and wrong. And as a Christian, a follower of Christ, I believe that what it boils down to, if you call yourself a Christian, is following the love of Christ. Following the word of Christ that says, judge not lest you be judged. Following the word of Christ that says that the most important commandment is to love your God, and the second most is to love your neighbor as yourself. These kids don't feel love. They don't feel accepted. They don't feel heard. They don't feel like they are a part of our community or that they are part of something bigger than themselves. And that is why they feel alone and they feel lost. And this is something that can offer them hope. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Brittany. It is spelled Brittany. My last name is Quellhorst. That is Quellhorst. I reside on Gage Street in Andover, Ohio. I will say right now, I did not come out very early. I was afraid because people come like this, and I will say I did go to church for a very, very, very long time, and I left that area because of things like this that occur, and I lost that safe space. And what could happen if you take away this drag show, as someone who did theater, drag shows people who are so confident in putting on these personas, something I wish that I had, because I have a lot of anxiety. I have a lot of social anxiety, and it makes it hard to even do this. And seeing people being able to go out and perform, it's wonderful and it builds confidence. It makes you feel like you can go and do those things. And, you know, sometimes kids need that. I know personally, if my parents didn't agree to it, they didn't bring me to it. So why ban one event if it's up to the parents to bring the children to that event? And if you ban one part of the event, that could be a difference of somebody seeing something that changes their life because they didn't get to see that before previously. I remember when I first saw the first post on Facebook about a pride happening in Ashtabula County, and I was excited because in the small town of Andover, people are a lot more judgmental. And you can't go out presenting these ways or you're very much discriminated against. And it's amazing to see this county come together for something like this because I see people from my school who never came out because they were too afraid to. And I want to say that please, if they encourage you to take this away, please do not. Because as someone who needed this as a kid, that makes me sad because so many kids are missing that. And I just would like people to take that into consideration and also take into consideration that not everybody has these same religious views that impact their life decisions. Because I will say, after being in the church for so long, I have begun to question my faith due to the fact that I do not feel safe in those buildings anymore.
Thank you.
My name is Cheryl Clark. I live on McNutt Avenue in Ashtabula. And I just have a few things that I would like to say tonight. Not long. Like I said, my name is Cheryl. I'd like you to know that I come here with love for everyone in this room. It's true. I have a lot of people here that know me, and I think they'd speak up for me that way. I'm a Christian. I live my life knowing that my life revolves around God and His Son, Jesus. How many of you that are wanting to perform at Walnut Beach were ever brought into a church where you sat through a Sunday school lesson? Anybody?
No. Yeah, please.
No.
Address council, please,
Okay.
only.
All
Thank
right.
you. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Did anyone ever hear about God, how He sent His only Son to die in that horrible cross for all of us? That's how much God loves every one of us here, every one of us. Did you learn that Jesus was raised from the dead so we could all be forgiven of all of our sins? Yours, mine, everybody. We have all sinned. And that's God's love. And also that all of the true Christians, we accept everyone through God's love. We would like for all of us to love Him back by showing that we choose to love by the 10 Commandments or to live by them. He also offers all of us eternal salvation as we pass through this world and into a place He's preparing for His own. The alternative is a place called hell. And there you will never feel any love, not ever, not through all eternity. I would like to teach everyone about a word that we think we know the meaning of. The word is hypocrite. Probably 95% of the world is unfamiliar with the original Greek word and what it meant. Performances were held at the Hippodrome in the Grecian communities thousands of years ago. Certain actors were called hypocrites because they were in the Hippodrome. Their way of living was referred to as hypocrisy, but it did not have the meaning of church people taking up space in pews and hating people who were different from them, as many think it means today. The original meaning of a hypocrite referred to actors on stage acting of someone as the opposite sex, performing in rude or crude acts in front of an audience. That was the Greek word. It has certainly taken on a different meaning now, hasn't it? Okay, some churches might harbor a few people who fit into the newer definition. Truth is, most Christians are filled with love. They choose to help raise the next generation to know who Jesus is. Most want to protect young ones from what followers of Christ look at as immoral. We might not agree with your lifestyle, but you're certainly loved. Why? Because God is love. He commands us to love one another. If you go on with this performance in June, I'll be there, Not because I want to watch Greek-style hypocrites, but because I want to talk to anyone who will listen how to accept Jesus into their heart and how to be forgiven of your sin. It's really not hard. And then you can feel the love of the Savior helping you change the path of your life, not just for now, but forever. And one sentence more, if one of the actors wants to talk to me about truth in the Word of God or about their circumstances, please seek me out. I'll be waiting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Yes.
So is this something that council can vote on or no?
It's not on
Yeah,
the agenda.
I would imagine if council makes a motion and it's seconded, and then council would vote on it. Am I wrong there?
Mrs. Cooper, does anybody remember Larry Flint? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. They're all valid. But I think this has been all the way to the Supreme Court. I mean, on the First Amendment issue,
Yes, sir. And if you're asking me for a comment, the answer is the Ohio statutes that were cited, yes, that's what they say. However, that actually has to occur before you can charge somebody with the crime. You can't preemptively prevent somebody from saying something because you think you know what they might say or you think you know what they might do. You can't. That is a violation of their First Amendment right, yes, sir.
and my next question to the organizers, I guess, are there kids participating in this without parental consent? Because
I think, I think to go back to your original concern, 2 weeks ago at our council meeting, we were asked to cancel the festival. Nobody on council made a motion, nobody seconded, and so the festival will just go on as planned. Then this issue has come up, and once again, they're coming to council asking us to cancel this part, if I'm understanding correctly, this part of the festival.
My understanding is they're asking you to prevent children under the age of 10 from attending the festival or this part of the festival.
I didn't know
that was my reading.
There was a lot of,
but there's been a lot.
Yeah, a lot of going back and forth. Yeah, so I'm not really.
has this petition even been produced? I mean, I have yet to see a petition.
No,
cross my email.
it was on emails, yeah. So again, we are listening and we are giving everybody a chance to talk. If a council member wants to make a motion, it would have to be seconded and then voted. Otherwise, we will continue to be, we will continue to listen. And if at some point a councilor wants to make a motion or second, that's fine. Otherwise, we will just continue to listen and then our meeting will adjourn. So that's where we're at. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. My name's William Clark, and I just wanted to thank each of you on the council and everything for listening to everybody. And I just want to let everybody know that I'm a Christian and I love everybody because that's what God tells me. You love everybody. And that's all I've got to say.
Well, thank you, Mr. Clark.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
My name is Charles Johnston. I'm in the south part of the county in Jefferson, and I have a few things to say as well. Thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of the citizens in Ashtabula County. My wife and I live in Jefferson, just south of here. A couple of years ago, this same group did their show at the Hampers Farm on State Route 46, just a mile from my home. This was a big mistake with the performers doing lewd acts in front of children, which is wrong on so many levels. This stuff was actually took to the prosecutor, Colleen O'Toole, but she just let it go. She didn't do her job. As a concerned citizen and a Christian and a veteran, I am not trampling on their rights to assemble. My point, and let me make it clear, you do it behind closed doors, not in a public setting such as Walnut Beach Park. There are people on top of the hill that have small children that could go out in their backyard and see this event, and it is not right. You're violating the kids' rights to play in their own backyard and be exposed to these acts of indecency. While serving this great nation back in the 90s under the Clinton administration, we had to deal with the gays in the military. At least we had don't ask, don't tell in place, so it was understood so that the morale of the troops would not diminish. Until 2009, under the Obama administration, this was lifted and it caused all kinds of problems among the ranks. Being a combat zone, having gays being open, it caused all kinds of problems with dissension among the ranks. Because if we were out on a convoy route and some person that is gay or whatever, let's say they might be HIV positive or whatever, we took an IED hit or whatever, then some other soldier would be at risk because they had to do CPR or first aid buddy care on that person, and that's a problem. As a biblical standpoint, God condemned Sodom and Gomorrah and destroyed it. This is not to be taken lightly. God made man and woman in his image. His intentions was not allowing this type of behavior. This is a mental health disorder, period, and these people need help. If you, the city council, continue to allow this venue to go on, it will not only be a disgrace to the city, but as to the county as well. Ashtabula County is being talked about in Columbus. I go there quite frequently. They refer to us as Appalachian hillbillies. And that's sad, because I'm not an Appalachian hillbilly. I'm a native Texan. I love to fight. I defended this country in Columbus. When this county allows these types of destructive behaviors going on, you will not get any economic development to this area. Look around, the city is trashed out and it's embarrassing. Clean it up. It is your duly elected position to make this a safe and inviting place to come to. It's far from it, as I see it at now. My main point to this situation is to not allow kids to this event and nothing to lure the kids to this event, period, which means nothing to lure the kids such as clowns making balloon art, face painting, bounce houses, whatever. We as responsible parents and grandparents and citizens do not condone this type of activity at all. If you don't understand how Antifa works, I know one lady brought it up about the threat to the area. I worked with Border Patrol, ICE, all of them. When you have Antifa, they are a Muslim sect people. If you're gay or whatever, they will kill you, point blank. These people don't play. They don't care who you are. Their ideology is to kill anybody. It doesn't matter if it's me out there. They would want to kill me. That's their main objective. Because I'd served over in Iraq. I disarmed bombs in Iraq. I did things unimaginable. I wiped out a city, over 9 city blocks with a blast. And I have to face that every damn day of my life because I got to sit there and say to God, did I make the right decision by following the orders of my command or allow these people to live? That's hard. And then a year ago today, I was diagnosed with smoldering multiple myeloma, being exposed to burn pits and to fires in Iraq. So I put my life on the line for this country. I don't want to see these children being drugged through the ringer. This is not right. And you, as a city council, it's up to you to do your job, follow the laws that are on the books, and make this happen. Cancel this part of allowing kids under the age of 18. Because you already heard the statutes, follow the law. If not, people are going to come after you guys personally and possibly sue you. Even though it might take 6 years to have a case in court to come to light, because Judge Harris knows for a fact, because I was in his court, it took 6 years to get a case closed. Okay. So, with that, I stand and yield my time.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, I'm Matt Butler, M-A-T-T-B-U-T-L-E-R, live on West Shore Drive in Ashtabula. I'm a licensed independent social worker and a licensed independent chemical dependency counselor in the state. And I can say categorically that it's been decades since anybody who is licensed and qualified to say such has said that homosexuality is a mental illness, that there's an issue if you're saying that. You have no qualifications to say that. Beyond that, a lot's been said about suicide tonight. We heard some stats about suicide in Ashtabula County. Actually, last year was our worst year in terms of suicide death that we've ever had since we've been tracking it. That's a problem. That's not getting better. It's getting worse. And, you know, a lot of people think, okay, so maybe if we lose 25 people to suicide in a year. That's really awful for 25 or maybe 100 people. Dr. Julie Serrell is the past president of the American Association of Suicidology, and she's done some interesting work in small towns in the University of Kentucky. And her work has pretty conclusively showed over the last few years that every suicide loss pretty dramatically impacts up to 120 to 140 individuals. So if you say we lost 25 people to suicide last year, you're talking about thousands of Ashtabula County residents who probably needed some kind of clinical assistance. Extrapolate that over a decade and you're talking about everybody in Ashtabula County knows somebody who's died by suicide. This is a major, major issue. So are overdose deaths, as we also know. And the common factor that ties together suicide and overdose deaths and a lot of other things is the fact of the lack of connection that many of us have and the lack of connection that many of our kids have. We need to increase connections, we need to increase help seeking, and we need to increase the ability of people to have conversations around these things. Telling them that they are going to die, as multiple speakers have, or that they should be cast into the ocean with a millstone around their neck is pretty horrific. For anybody to come and speak to council about people deserving to be dead after saying a message of love is horrific and despicable, especially when we're talking about kids. If you have not been to many, many, many suicide scenes with the Lost team over the years, as I have, and worked with those families and worked with those survivors of suicide loss, you do not have a right to say that kids need to not be accepted and kids need to shut up until they turn 18, because miraculously when you turn 18, suddenly at that point you can accept your identity. It's ridiculous. Anybody who has any kind of understanding of mental health or addiction knows that we need to be building bridges. We don't need to be creating divisions among people in our community. The kind of rhetoric about how people need to die and about how the Bible tells us that they should die is increasing the sense of disconnection that many of our LGBTQ youth feel. And, you know, if you had gone to a Pride festival, I'm a cisgender male. I've gone to them all. I walk around because it is fantastic to have the experience of being around people and perspectives that do not share my life experience. I think diversity is incredibly important. I think that it is 2024 and it's really, really important for us to understand perspectives that are not like our own. If you don't want to go to Pride, don't go to Pride, but it is unconscionable for us to be having a conversation about how kids suddenly turn gay when they are exposed to these hideous storybook readings. We can do better than that. As a community, we can do better than that. And there's been a lot of talk about love, and it would be great to see more love here. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Butler.
Hello, my name is Amanda Frazier. Last name is Frazier, like the boxer. Drag is just another form of performance art. And like any other type of performance, music, comedy, theater, it can be R-rated all the way down to G-rated. If you've watched The Nutcracker with your family at Christmas time, you've seen family-friendly drag in the character of Mother Ginger, a funny old woman in a wig, a giant silly dress, and over-the-top stage makeup, who is traditionally played by a male dancer. The role of Peter Pan is traditionally played by a woman or a girl in stage productions. Family-friendly drag. In stage productions of Matilda, a children's story about the love of learning, found family, and finding the courage to stand up to bullies, the role of Miss Trunchbull is traditionally played by a man. Family-friendly drag. In Hairspray, a joyful and, you guessed it, family-friendly musical celebrating positive self-images and the civil rights movement, the role of Edna Turnblad, a kind, shy, self-conscious mom, is traditionally played by a man. It's family-friendly drag. To talk about drag in blanket terms of being inappropriate for kids is like saying kids shouldn't listen to music or kids shouldn't read books. Some drag, like some music, books, TV shows, films, plays, and events, is not intended for kids. But to say all drag is inherently adult-oriented or sexual in nature is just plain inaccurate. The question has been raised as to what kind of reputation we want for Ashtabula. And personally, I want Ashtabula to be known as a community that's welcoming to many different types of people and families. I don't want people who are considering relocating here to decide not to because our community is hostile towards them or to people they care about. And I definitely don't want young people who have grown up here to trip over their own feet to get away when they're ready to start their lives and careers because they've been made to feel wrong or isolated or unloved or unsafe. Thank you.
My name is John Jones. Sounds a little fictitious, but it's true. So it's true. I'm amazed at City Council ability to sit and listen through all of this. I pastor Lighthouse Baptist Church. I've done so for 34 years. Some of you I know pretty well. I just want to say thank you for what you do. I don't know how you process theological arguments. I don't know how you process very different lifestyles. I don't know that anybody in this room could be any more conservative than I am. I don't want to have a theological argument tonight. Christ loves us all. He just does. He wants to help us all. And he does. You've heard a lot of that. You've heard about the laws. You've heard about lots of other things and how something like the Gay Pride Festival or parade or whatever it ends up being, a festival I think this year is good for families. It's good for children. And all I want to do is I want to take a little bit of issue with that. It's abhorrent to me that a Christian community has made people feel hatred from us. That's a shame. You're welcome to come to our church. You will be welcomed by people in our church. Are there people that are hateful? Yes, on all sides. It's just sadly true. But City Council, I specifically just want to address this one issue. We've always protected the most vulnerable in our community: the elderly, the weak, the sick, the poor, and the young. The arguments I heard about how affirming like the drag shows are and things like that, I scratch my head and I go, okay, so they like them. Not everything we like is good for us. Children aren't allowed to get a driver's license. Well, let's just let them get it at 10. It'll make them feel better about themselves. They're not allowed to get alcohol until they're adult. Let's let them go to the bar, the strip club. They'll feel better about themselves. They'll feel welcomed. We need to do a better job reaching young people. We drive buses through our city. I'm sure you've seen them every week for over 30 years. We love children. We have a junior church. We want to help them grow up to be responsible adults. I get it. But I think we've always protected the most vulnerable. I think if, Michael and those on the that are organizing this event, they have as much rights as I do. They ought to be as respected as much as anybody else in this community. For sure. I don't like them treated wrongly. It's not right. It's not correct. But City Council's job is to protect our community. And just like you wouldn't allow little children to go into a bar, just like you wouldn't allow them to, it'd be a crime for a 14-year-old to have sexual relationship, even if they said it was consensual, it's a crime. Why? Because they don't have the maturity level and the wisdom often to deal with these things. And I say if this event is going to take place, it needs to be very regulated to protect our children who are vulnerable, who don't have the maturity of an adult that's in this room who could make and articulate great arguments. I would love to have a theological discussion, but that's not city council's purpose. I would love to talk about those things because I have a lot to say. But city council does, and the city manager does, have a duty to protect the most vulnerable among us. If a child grows up and chooses a very different lifestyle from me, I'm not their judge. I don't even want to be. But a simple Google search, you've heard the laws, you've heard what performers themselves said about these events. A simple Google search of Gay Pride Festival, Gay Pride Parade, and the word violence or the word lewdness or indecency. They're such a common thing that just we can't get around. And I'm just asking you to protect our children. Let people with different opinions work through those issues, how to care about each other, and reach out to each other. Some people are very passionate. And some of those other issues are a big deal. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hi. Good evening, Council. My name is Helena Richardson, HELENA-RICHARDSON. I formerly lived at 1533 West 9th Street. I currently reside on Palm Road, Mogador. I came up here to speak for myself and for my husband, who is an Iraq vet in the 82nd Airborne Special Forces who fought for freedom for all. We are allies of the queer community. We stand with the LGBTQIA community. I've been very lucky working in the capacity when I lived in Ashtabula to work with many different community organizations. Just want to say I stand here for us, my husband and me, our families, our neighbors, our community, for those who are not here tonight and those who are no longer here on earth. As a former member of the Ashtabula County Suicide Prevention Coalition and LOSS team, which you heard spoken about, which is prevention and response team to suicide, I stand here for those who have lost their lives to bullying, to violence and pain because of their gender expression and diversity. I'm here to help protect those in danger of persecuted and unprovoked attack. Drag and dance and song is for everyone, for all ages. Summer is for joy. Visibility can mean life. I want to read a couple quotes. George H.W. Bush said, "In crucial things, unity. In important things, diversity. In all things, generosity." And Mahatma Gandhi said, "Our ability to reach unity and diversity will be the beauty and the test of our civilization." Today does matter for all of us here, for you to hear all of us speak. Visibility is life. I want to thank the county commissioners and numerous local businesses for past support of the Pride community, which included drag events and many other things. If you want to watch a video from the Ashtabula County District Library about the inception of the first Pride event, it's beautiful talks, and you'll hear about unicorns and children-friendly events, G-rated everything. I have never been somewhere that felt so welcoming, and most people were laughing and playing and weeping because it's the first place where they felt safe. That is not how I do not want to experience an Ashtabula County where I don't feel safe and people that I love or don't even know or haven't met feel safe. Visibility is everything. Having drag be there is everything. We all deserve to be peaceful, to be ourselves, and to be here. As the suicide survivor Kevin Hines once said, "Please stay here, even for just a few hours on a particular day in June. Stay here." Thank you.
Ms. Beaman, you've already addressed council this evening, and so I apologize. You can see how many people we have heard from and who are still here, so sorry about that.
David Lunneberg, 1711 Walnut Boulevard. There's no shortage of concerns surrounding this festival, but I will try to be brief. I oppose children being given free, easy access to drag performances in public parks? Why is there a desire to do this at a public beach? I do not believe any influx of money to this community is worth the potential damage to children that drag performances pose. We are asking, the one with sole authority, Mr. Timoneer, for an age restriction at these performances. We all wish for Ashtabula to be a safe place on both sides of this issue. Having differences of opinions and expressing those are difficult. It is painful sometimes to stand in front of people and express your differing opinion. Ashtabula Pride Incorporated is advertising a family-friendly event. I failed to see how role-playing, wearing provocative costumes, dancing for dollar bills is family-friendly. I've heard this common fallacy: if you don't want your children to see it, don't bring your children. Again, why is this being done in a public park and tempting children to join in the festival? We only allow provocative dancing for dollar bills behind closed doors. And then someone has to check IDs at the door to keep minors out of those establishments. The performances at prior festivals prove how they define family-friendly. I encourage you to watch their highlight reel. Did they clean up their performances since then? I don't know, maybe. Nobody cares what you do or what you want to do in designated adult-only areas. Why now? Why is there such a fight this time? It is because you're putting it on stage in public. How many children can accidentally walk past dancers at the Rare Cherry? I would argue 0. Are we limiting anyone's First Amendment right by age restricting access to strip clubs? Yeah, we're limiting the First Amendment of children for their safety. If I don't want to go to a gentleman's club, I won't go. But the gentleman's club isn't allowed to hold a festival on the public beach. The Bible was inspired by the Holy Spirit and was not just written by men. There are plenty of prayers and songs that women in the Bible recorded and sang. A few words from the wisest mortal to walk this earth. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. The simple believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps. Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. So I thank you for enduring this night and listening to as many of us as you can. It is clear that sons are a heritage from Jesus Christ, and all the fruit of the womb is a reward. I stand here to ask you to limit the access to this festival. It is interesting how even the Christian church has a hard time standing against the onslaught of lies. Sadly, there are Christians that bend to the will of the flesh. We are all sinners in need of a Savior. There is no doubt, no difference between Jew or Greek, man or woman, when it comes to Christ's forgiveness, if one submits to Christ's authority. The thief on the cross had a repentant heart and was forgiven in the last moments of his life. Anyone can be forgiven. Christ wants all humans to come to know his love, but he also prayed, "As for those that turn aside to their crooked ways, Jesus Christ shall lead them away with the workers of iniquity." Peace be upon Ashtabula. Thank you for your time. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Lenda.
My name is Shannon Farmer. Shannon, S-H-A-N-N-A-N, and Farmer, just how it sounds. I am a resident of Conneaut, Ohio. I live at 251 Daniels Avenue. I am speaking today as a cisgendered female ally of the LGBTQ community. I wanted to point out a few things about, there's been a lot of religious talk on both sides, and like some said, I am also in support of both sides of an argument, as long as there's non-threatening. There's been many threats thrown around in this building, in this meeting, and that's a concern for everybody involved. But what I want to talk about is the fact that I've been involved in the LGBT Pride Festival, parade, whatever it's called, I am now the stage manager for this year's drag performances. I know many of the drag performers, and I have seen many of their performances. If anybody would like to talk to me about what I've seen, and I would love to talk to anybody about it. I've never felt threatened. I've never felt unsafe around any drag queen. I can say with certainty that I have felt unsafe and threatened by some religious people and their doctrine. This is not a religious issue. We have separation of church and state. We have freedom of speech, all of that. But at the festival, not only are there people like Community Counseling Center and Signature Health who offer mental health, what we've got in the area, what you would need to do to come in, to walk in to get some counseling. Signature Health is providing access to care and infectious disease and preventative things for drug counseling and all the things that you could get if you potentially have AIDS. So I don't know, like you, Mr. Guarino, that you don't know why you're here any more than any of us. We all have that same question. So,
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. President, further.
Yeah, I'm good.
I just want to ask, if this is all about kids underage not having parental consent, and she's saying that there isn't any, then what's the argument here?
I'm going to get. We've been asked council has been asked several times to ask the city manager to change the festival permit. Council has been asked to change the festival permit. No one has made that motion to do so. Is there a motion at this time for council to change the festival permit or to direct the city manager to change the festival permit? Seeing no motion, then I believe I can say, and you'll correct me, that the festival permit will stand as is. And I think, we enjoy you all coming here this evening. We appreciate your time and that you spent with us. Our air conditioner is broke, so that made it extra. Difficult, but we thank you for your time. We appreciate all of you who, and your passions. And so at this time, seeing no motion from council, and so at this time, the permit will stand as it was issued. Mr. Simeon?
So what I want to say is hopefully tonight both sides will walk away from this, not just sitting here listening to their own, listen to both sides. As I've been sitting here listening to everything, I kind of thought about, I was so lucky to grow up with a diverse background and so many, different ways of life and around different people. I grew up on the west side of Cleveland, so I was exposed to a lot. And I'm thankful for that. I think the biggest problem we have is everybody wants to talk, nobody wants to listen. And I think if you take the time to listen, you'll find out that people on the other side are far more like you than you think. There are people in this room that I don't know that well that I would love to get to know better. There are people that I do know. And I guarantee you the people that I do know, some of the things about them would surprise you, for the positive. We don't always have to agree, but the least we should do is respect each other. Okay. And, I had a laugh too at one point. Some people tried to make this a political thing. And I think those people, I go back to, 2016, and I'm one of those people that likes to watch the Democratic National Committee, the Republican National Committee. Like, I watch everything. And I think some people would be very surprised that in 2016 at the Republican National Committee, Donald Trump was the one who said we need to be far more inclusive and let the LGBTQ community know that they are accepted, they are welcome. And I think some of the people here tonight who tried to make it a political thing may have missed out on that. But again, I just urge people, don't just talk, listen. Because again, you might find that while you don't agree with everything, that person, I don't agree with my family on a lot of things, but I love them. You know, and I think if we can get to that point and just come to that point where you love the other people, respect them, you don't have to agree with them, but again, just have that respect for each other.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Simeon. I hesitate to say this, but is there anyone who wants to talk? Anyone who wants to talk about any other issue, like a street light or something else other than what we've already concluded? Okay.
I didn't get to speak. I didn't hear that you guys closed it.
Well,
because you can't hear in there.
Oh, yeah, that was overflow room. Well, I did ask council several times. Nobody on council has made a motion or seconded
Well, I've
any
heard
motion.
that y'all said that you didn't know what the ask was, and I have the petitions. The gal who was going to turn them in, who you know had spearheaded the petitions, she forgot. So, would you allow me to turn in the petitions and speak?
Okay, that would be fine.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name's Kelly Lunneberg, KELLYLUNNEBERG. I live at 1711 Walnut Boulevard. I appreciate the opportunity. I know that you've extended this for me, and that was very gracious, so I thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say, and obviously I'm just speaking for myself, I'm not saying that children can't go to Pride. All I'm asking is what this petition is asking, that those who are under the age of 18 are not allowed to perform or view or participate in tipping or receiving gratuities from adults or children during drag performances at the festival. The festival seems to offer a lot of great events, a lot of family-friendly events that I won't disagree with. There is just the one disagreement about whether drag's appropriate or not. And I ask you to look at the Pride's previous videos on their own website from their own videographer. I know I've sent it to each one of you. It's in your email if you haven't seen it already. In those videos, it shows children tipping performers. And I will say I did see an underage person here, and I will say that this will get graphic. So you might want to leave the room, or your mother might want to take you out. Okay. Of course. Anyway, in these performances, you'll see Michael Reif, his drag persona is Mona Lotz, which is a vulgar name in itself. It's not appropriate for children. They shouldn't speak it. They shouldn't hear it. They shouldn't wear it on T-shirts. Mona Lotz is in a yellow dress with prosthetic breasts, with erect nipples, and a slit all the way up.
Ma'am,
Yes.
we don't allow signs or posters at
Oh, I
council
didn't.
meetings.
I'm sorry, I did not know
That's
that.
okay. We had that earlier in the meeting.
I was outside. I apologize. So this was a previous Pride event, previous all-age drag show. I'm asking you to look at their performances, at the drag queens that come in with 6, 7, 8-inch deep prosthetic cleavage, erect nipples, outfits with their rear ends and fronts exposed. Now, I will say, I believe that they might be covered with nude tights, but children don't understand that they're seeing clothing that's supposed to look like skin. They just see skin. They see children and other adults tipping these dancers for their performances. It's monetizing bodies, and children will see that, and they will take that in. They will see that if you perform in these ways, shaking breasts to the crowd, where prosthetic breasts, while they may not be real, children don't know that, They just see these performers collecting money for dancing. These dancers roll around on the floor. They kick their feet up in provocative ways. They sashay their hips and stick their breasts out. These are not appropriate things for children to see. All I'm asking, and I think a lot of us in here are asking, is that these drag performers just perform for adults. There's a lot of ways they could do that. Down in Naples, Florida, they actually rented a hall, and the drag portion went on behind closed doors for adults only. You could rent a tent and have one of the APD officers that the festival will be hiring to sit and make sure that they check IDs. We aren't asking to rob children of the Pride Festival or their identity. We're just asking to protect their innocence. I thank you for your time, and I do appreciate, I know this has been a long night, a hot night, so thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Seeing no comments from any counselors at this time, I will call the meeting adjourned. Our next council meeting will be June the 3rd? First Monday in June. First Monday in June, June the 3rd. Right. And we will be here also. Thank you, everyone. Everyone have a good Memorial Day weekend and be safe. Thank you very much for coming.